Before we start, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Only 2% are subscribed at 1,000 subscribers. I'll be posting a special video. My mother is hammering on my bedroom door when I decide I am done. I grip the handle and I do not open it. My name is Alex, I am 24 now, and this is the day I turned 18 and walked away. On the other side, she screams my name, her voice sliding between begging and fury. Every hit on the wood feels like a countdown, and I know if I wait too long she will find a way in. I yank the drawer open and start stuffing clothes in a bag. No folding, no order, just whatever my hands touch first. I keep my wallet in my teeth while I search for my ID. My heart is so loud that it drowns her voice for a second, which is almost worse. Silence from her usually means something bad is coming. Open this damn door! Her fist hits again, harder. Why is it locked? What are you hiding? The knob jerks as she tries the old trick with a card in the frame. I shove my bag against the door and lean my weight on it. It is not a great plan, but it is all I have in that moment. I am not brave here, by the way. I am shaking so much that the bag zipper keeps catching on my sleeve. I keep telling myself this is just a normal move out like kids do when they go to college. That lie helps me breathe for about 5 seconds, then she kicks the lower panel and I hear something crack. I grab the small envelope with my documents from under the mattress. Birth certificate, social security card, that kind of stuff. I had hidden them for weeks, even though I knew she searched my room when I left for school. My fingers slip and the envelope almost falls into the gap behind the bed. I catch it and hold it against my chest like it might disappear. If she takes this, I think I stay stuck here forever. Alex, baby, talk to me. Her voice softens, which is always a warning. You mad at me, is that it? The door stops moving for a moment. I picture her with her ear pressed against it, eyes half closed, already planning the next angle. You know I love you, right? The way she says love makes my skin crawl. I do not answer. I throw my toothbrush into the bag, then stop. I promised myself no pointless stuff, only what I need to survive a few nights away. The room feels small and crowded, though nothing really changed in it. That is how fear works for me, it pulls the walls closer. Where are you going? Her voice slides under the door like smoke. Who are you leaving me for? She swears, then laughs in this jagged way that never means joy. I hear her nails on the door dragging down the surface. You remember what I did for you, right? There is a pause after that last line, like even she hears how it sounds. I open the window and check the drop. Second floor, not impossible, but not smart either. I think about climbing out and I actually swing one leg over. Then I hear the front door in the hallway slam and a neighbor shout up at her asking if everything is okay. If I jump now and land wrong, I will be stuck outside with her still screaming above me. I pull my leg back in and my hands leave sweat prints on the frame. The lock on my door gives a small pop. She must have found something thinner than a card. The knob turns a little, then more. I throw my weight against it again, my shoulder aching. For a second we are both pressing from opposite sides, her pushing in, me pushing out. This is our whole relationship in one stupid doorway. Move or I swear I will call the cops on you. Her breath comes through the crack. I will tell them you hit me, I will tell them everything. That part is not new, she has used that threat since I was a kid. Today it lands different though. Today I have cash in my pocket and an address in my phone where a friend said I could crash. Today I have an exit. I step back fast and yank the door open myself. She stumbles into the room off balance, one hand gripping the frame. Her eyes flick to the bag, then the envelope in my hand, then my shoes already laced. I watch the realization hit her in layers. First shock, then hurt, then something meaner. You think you grown now? She smiles without warmth. You think you can just walk out on me? She moves between me and the hallway, bare feet planted wide. I could maybe shove her aside, but part of me still hesitates. She used to tuck me in at night. She also used to do much worse, and both facts sit there at the same time. I am going out for a while. My voice comes out too calm. I will be back for the rest later. That is a lie, and I know it, and I think she hears it. Her head tilts like a dog catching a sound only it can hear. For a second we just look at each other, neither of us blinking. She steps closer and runs a hand down my arm, slow. You are not leaving me, she whispers. After everything we shared. My stomach flips like the floor tilted under me. I pull my arm back and her face changes so fast it is like watching a mask rip. Whatever softness she tried dies on the spot. You owe me, her voice jumps in volume. You owe me for every night I covered for why. Oh, for every time I kept quiet, for all the things I gave you that no one else would. She says that last part with a twist like it is a secret between us. My throat tightens and the room feels dirty in a new way. I push past her hard enough that her shoulder hits the wall. She gasps and grabs my wrist with a grip that surprises me. Her nails dig into my skin. "Touch me like that again and see what happens," she hisses. I picture the cops showing up and finding my bag, my documents, her fake tears. I know exactly whose side they would take first. "Let go," my voice cracks on the last word. "Please." She stares at me, searching my face for some weakness she can use. Her hand loosens just a little, not enough. I tug again and she finally opens her fingers. I do not say thank you, though the old habit almost slips out. In the hallway, she follows close behind, talking non-stop. "You walk out that door, you never come back, you hear me?" She gets louder with each step. "You think anyone out there will want you when they find out what you really are?" That line almost makes me stop because I do not even know what version of me she plans to sell. I reach the front door and pull my key from my pocket. My hand shakes so badly that I drop it. It bounces once and slides toward her foot. For a second we both stare at it, and I swear the world hangs on that little piece of metal. If she picks it up first, I am not sure I will have the courage to bend down and take it back. I move faster. I grab the key and shove it into the lock, then twist. The door opens with a sound I will never forget, like air rushing into a sealed room. Behind me she starts screaming again, words tumbling over each other. "If you walk out, I swear I will tell them what you liked, I will tell them what we did, I will tell them you begged for it." Those words hit me harder than any slap. My vision blurs for a second, not from tears, more like my brain cannot process hearing that out loud. I step over the threshold anyway. My bag strap cuts into my shoulder. The hallway outside feels cooler, not safe exactly, just less poisoned. I do not look back at her standing there, but I hear the sound she makes, a mix of laugh and scream. The door swings shut behind me and the frame rattles. I slide the key out and stare at it in my palm. Part of me wants to pocket it, just in case I need to come back. Part of me wants to drop it down the stairwell and never see it again. In the end, I place it on the floor near the baseboard and nudge it under the door with my shoe. As soon as the key disappears, my phone buzzes. Her name lights up the screen, and then again and again. I mute it without answering. I walk down the stairs, each step feeling both too light and too heavy. At the bottom I pause, expecting someone to yell my name, expecting a hand on my shoulder, expecting a siren. Nothing happens, only my own breathing. I push the building door open and step outside. For one brief second, I really believe I just ended the worst part of my life. I think that closing that door behind me will bury every secret she ever forced on me. I wish I had been right about that. I almost drop my phone on the front steps because it will not stop buzzing. The screen flashes her name over and over, then switches to an unknown number. I stand outside my friend's place with my bag cutting into my shoulder and my thumb hovering over decline. I kill the call, swallow hard, then knock again, louder this time. For a stupid second I imagine him not opening, and my chest tightens like the whole plan falls apart in one swing of that door. The deadbolt clicks, the door cracks open just enough for one eye to peek out, then wider. He looks down at the bag, then at my face, and something in his expression shifts. "You actually did it." He steps aside so I can walk in. There is no welcome, no joke, just those 4 words hanging between us like a dare. I step over the threshold and the phone vibrates again against my palm. I flip it face down without checking. "I just need a place tonight." My voice sounds rough, like I swallowed sand. "Maybe a couple nights." The way I say maybe makes it obvious I mean longer, and we both know it. My heart thumps waiting for him to call that out. He rubs his jaw, eyes still on the bag. "Couch is yours for now." He nudges a blanket toward me with his foot. "House rule though, no drama in here, no random visitors, no weird calls in the middle of the night if I can help it." His gaze flicks to the phone in my hand and it buzzes again on cue. I force a laugh that sounds nothing like me. "Yeah, totally, no problem." Inside, I know that is a problem because my whole life is one long weird call at this point. I set the phone screen down on the coffee table and pretend it is not there. The vibration still carries through the surface like a tiny earthquake under my fingers. He drops onto a chair across from me and leans forward. "You sure you're safe?" The way he SKS, it tells me he does not want the full answer. "Not really." "You run from something or just done with that place?" I shift my weight, the bag strap creaking, and stare at my shoes instead of his face. "I am finished with her." The words come out before I polish them. "If she contacts you, ignore it." I do not add "if she shows up here, lock everything." That part feels too real to say out loud. My knee bounces and I push it down with my hand like I can press the panic back into place. The phone lights up again, this time with a text preview before the screen dims. He catches a glimpse and raises an eyebrow. "Baby, pick up, I know you're there." He reads it flat, no joke in his tone. "That your mom?" I grab the phone and tilt it away, pulse roaring in my ears. "Yeah." My thumb hovers over the message, then slides to open it. A whole wall of texts waits. I scroll without really wanting to. At first she begs, then she snaps, then she swings back to sweet. It's like watching someone flip channels on a broken TV. I read one out loud without meaning to. "You can't do this to me after everything I did for you." My voice cracks on that last bit. The next message says she will report me for stealing. The one after that hints at telling people our little secret. My stomach flips hard enough that I have to set the phone on my knee. He watches my face instead of the screen now. "You want to change your number?" He tosses a small notepad on the table as if that somehow fixes it. "We can hit the store tomorrow, get you a new one, whatever." He scratches his neck, uncomfortable, like this is already more weight than he planned for. "I will handle it." I lock the screen and shove the phone deep into my pocket like distance inside fabric changes anything. "Thanks for letting me crash, I owe you." The word owe tastes sour. I am so done owing anyone, yet here I am stacking another debt. He stands and stretches. "You hungry?" It sounds like a regular question, but there is a test hiding inside it. Normal people talk about food at this hour. Normal people trade snacks and dumb stories, not threats and secrets. I nod out of habit even though my stomach feels twisted. He grabs a takeout box from the counter and hands it over. I pick at it more than I eat. Every forkful lands heavy. My brain keeps jumping back to the last thing she yelled as I left. The way she twisted the story in one breath turned me into something dirty, like she could rewrite reality if she repeated it loud enough. I force the fork down and push the box away. "I'll shower and get out of your hair." It comes out automatic, like I am already apologizing for existing. He waves a hand, already half turned toward his room. "Bathrooms down the hall, towels in the cabinet, lock up when you're done." Then he disappears, leaving me alone with my thoughts and that little vibrating brick in my pocket. Under the hot water, my mind finally slows just a bit. Not peace, not even close, just less chaos for a few minutes. I stare at the tile and replay the door slamming behind me, the way the key scraped under it. I know I did the right thing. I also know she is not the kind to let go gracefully. That mix keeps my chest tight until I realize the water has been running too long. Back in the living room, the apartment feels strange and quiet. Different silence from the place I left. No footsteps stomping, no random yelling, just the low hum of an old fridge and some car passing outside. You would think that would be soothing. Instead, every small sound makes me jump, like I am waiting for her voice to cut through the air anyway. I unfold the blanket on the couch and lie down, shoes at the edge in case I need to bolt. My bag stays within arm's reach. That is not paranoia for me, that is muscle memory. I stare at the ceiling and try to imagine tomorrow as something other than survival, but my brain cannot stretch that far yet. The phone shakes again against my leg. I drag it out and unlock it against my better judgment. There are 3 new voicemails. I should delete them without listening. I know that. Instead, I press play on the first and hold the speaker close, heartbeat thudding in my throat. Her voice comes through soft at first. "Sweetheart, I'm scared, I don't feel good, I need you." She sniffles into the mic, then lowers her tone. "You can't leave me like this. You know things about me, I know things about you, we belong together." The last word stretches too long and I feel my grip tighten until my knuckles ache. I hit stop before the message finishes and jump to the next one. This time she is raging. "You think you're better than me now, you think anyone will want you once I open my mouth. They will look at you like a freak, you hear me?" Something shatters in the background and she laughs high and sharp. My thumb hovers over delete and I finally do it. One swipe then another. It feels like pulling out splinters, small and messy. The third voicemail goes, "Why?" Without me listening at all. I almost throw the phone across the room, then imagine it breaking and me standing in a store tomorrow begging for a cheap replacement with no ID address. I tuck it under the pillow instead and lie flat, staring into the dark. Sleep does not show up. My thoughts run loops. What if she calls the police for real? What if she tells some twisted story and they show up here? What if she shows up in person, pounding on another door I do not own? Every scenario ends with me dragged back into her orbit, no matter how far I try to move. At some point, the room lightens at the edges and a distant car horn drags me halfway out of my head. I must have passed out for an hour at most. My back hurts from the couch, but I do not complain. This pain is simple, physical, honest. It does not lie to me. I sit up slow, joints stiff, and listen for movement down the hall. My friend pops his head out, hair a mess, eyes still half closed. "You alive out here?" There is a weak grin, but his gaze scans my stuff like he is checking it is still contained. "I got work in an hour, you gonna be okay while I'm gone?" The question hangs there heavy. "I'll look for a job or something." I rub my face, trying to scrub the night off. "I'll stay out of the way, I swear." The promise comes out too fast, and that annoys me. I keep acting like I'm a guest in everyone's life even when I'm drowning. He nods slowly. "You don't need to disappear, just don't bring chaos to my front door." The phrase lands right in my chest. Chaos, as if that is a person you can invite or block. In my case, it kind of is. After he leaves, the place feels even emptier. Sunshine slips around the blinds and lays faint lines on the floor. I stand there in the quiet and realize I have nowhere to be. No school that day, no shift, nothing scheduled. I am free and completely unmoored at the same time, which is a weird kind of dizzy. I grab my backpack and dig through the mess until I find the small roll of bills I stashed. Not much. Enough for cheap food, maybe a prepaid phone card if I stretch it. I stuff the money in my pocket and head out, locking the door the way he showed me. That lock suddenly feels like the last thin layer between her and me. On the walk to the closest store, I keep checking over my shoulder. Every car that slows near the curb makes my muscles tense. Every woman shouting into a phone on the sidewalk makes my body brace by default. My brain keeps painting her face on strangers who have nothing to do with my life. At the store counter, I buy a simple prepaid card and the cheapest pack of snacks I can find. The clerk does not care about my shaking hands or the dark circles under my eyes. To him, I am just another tired kid trying to stretch a crumpled bill. In a weird way, that indifference calms me more than any kind words would have. Outside, I scratch the silver strip on the phone card and punch the numbers in. No new phone yet, just more minutes on the old one. I am not ready to give up the number completely. That is the ugly truth. Cutting her off sounds strong, but there is a small piece of me that still wants to monitor the fire, like if I watch it, it cannot spread. Back at the apartment building door, I pause with the key in the lock. The street behind me looks normal, but my shoulders stay tense. I realize this is the new version of home for now, and she does not know where it is yet. That word yet sits heavy in my chest. I let myself in and listen to the quiet hallway. No raised voices, no pounding, just the faint echo of someone's TV far away. I breathe out slow and step inside the apartment, closing the door with care. I wish I believed this new space meant safety. Deep down, I already sense that distance will not be enough to keep her out of my life, not for long. The shout snaps something in me before I even process the words. "Hey, watch it!" A customer's voice slices across the diner, sharp and irritated. A fork clatters to the floor near my shoe, my hands lock around the tray, knuckles aching. For a second I am not there anymore, I am just braced for impact. "You good?" My coworker nudges my arm with her elbow. "Table 4 is waiting." Her eyes track my shaking fingers, then flick to my face. I force my grip to loosen, one finger at a time, like I am peeling myself off a ledge. My mouth forms a stiff smile that does not convince anyone. "I'm fine." The words come out tight. "Just tired." I bend, grab the fork, toss it into the bin, and keep moving. My heart does not get the memo though. It keeps pounding like someone is still yelling in my ear. I place plates on table 4 and almost spill one when a kid laughs too loud behind me. On break, I stand outside by the dumpsters and stare at my phone. 3 missed calls from a blocked number sit on the screen. A voicemail icon waits like a red warning light. I hover over it, thumb trembling, then press and lift the phone to my ear. I listen to static for 2 seconds and hang up before the voice starts. I delete the message without hearing a single word. Coward move maybe, but that is all I have in me right then. I lean my head against the wall and breathe through my teeth until the urge to throw the phone fades. Somewhere in the distance, an ambulance siren rises and my shoulders tense automatically. At home that night, my friend tosses a pillow at me. "You were yelling again." He stands in the hallway in a wrinkled t-shirt, hair sticking up. "I was this close to dumping water on you." He points at an imaginary line with 2 fingers, but his expression is serious. I pull the blanket tighter around my chest. "What did I say?" My voice sounds thin, like it belongs to someone else. I search my memory and find nothing, just a heavy sense of dread. The couch springs creak when I shift my weight, too loud in the quiet room. He shrugs, rubbing his eyes, couldn't catch it, just sounded scared. He lingers a second longer, then turns away. Try to keep it down though, walls are pretty thin. The sentence lands harder than he probably meant. I nod even though he is already walking down the hall. When the door to his room clicks shut, I stare into the dark. I tell myself this is temporary. Diner shifts, couch sleep, nightmares, just a phase I need to push through to get to something better. Saying that out loud, even just in my head, almost sounds convincing. Almost. A week later, I find myself in a cramped office at the community college downtown. A woman in glasses types my information into her computer and smiles like this is all routine. "Do you live with family?" Her fingers tap the keys while she glances up. The word family lands like a punch. "I'm with a friend for now," I chew on the inside of my cheek. "My mom moved out of state." That last part is a lie that comes way too easily. It rolls off my tongue so smoothly that even I almost buy it for a second. She nods like that explains everything and keeps typing. She pushes a form across the desk. "We're doing an icebreaker in your first class. Write a short memory that makes you feel safe." The paper stares up at me, blank and demanding. My chest tightens. Safe is not a word my brain knows what to do with. I grip the pen and wait for something to surface. A holiday, a birthday, a random Tuesday where nothing hurt. Nothing comes. The pen tip hovers over the line until my hand starts to cramp. I finally scribble something vague about hanging out with friends and slide the form back before she can read my face too closely. Classes start the next day. I sit in the back row and listen to people joke about strict parents and embarrassing baby photos. Laughter rolls around the room while they trade stories about curfews and awkward hugs at school events. I laugh when everyone else laughs, but the sound feels hollow in my throat. When it is my turn, I read my fake memory off the page. My voice stays steady. Nobody calls me out. Nobody says, "That sounds made up." They just nod and move on, and somehow that hits harder than if they had questioned it. I realize how easy it is to hide in plain sight. After class, a flyer on the bulletin board catches my eye. Free counseling for students. The word free hooks me more than the rest. I stuff the tear-off tab into my pocket without thinking too long about it. I tell myself I just want someone neutral to talk to, someone who does not know her or me or any of it. A few days later, I sit in a small therapy room staring at a box of tissues on the table between us. The therapist waits with a notepad on her lap, head tilted just enough to signal patience. "So," she says, hands folded loosely, "what brought you in today?" The question feels huge for a Tuesday afternoon. I shrug and pick at a loose thread on my sleeve. "I left home pretty fast. I'm trying to get my life together." That sounds like something from a brochure, not my actual reality. I hear how vague it is and hate it, but I cannot seem to push deeper. My throat tightens each time I get near the real words. She nods once. "You mentioned trouble sleeping on the form." Her eyes flick to the paper, then back. "Nightmares, panic at work, phone calls you avoid. Does that sound right?" Hearing it all lined up like that makes my chest feel crowded. It is one thing to live in chaos, another to see it listed. "Yeah, my voice is small, that about covers it." I attempt a half smile and fail. Silence stretches between us, thick and uncomfortable. She lets it sit there instead of rescuing me from it, which somehow makes it worse. After a moment, she taps the form with her pen. "You also wrote one phrase here that stood out to me." She traces the words without reading them aloud. "Can you tell me what you meant?" I know exactly which line she is pointing at, even from upside down. On the intake form, I had written in shaky letters that my mom did vile things. It slipped out of me when I was tired and not paying attention, like my hand was more honest th. And my mouth, now the word hangs in the air between us, heavy and loaded. I stare at the carpet. "It was bad," I mutter, "stuff that's hard to explain." My heart starts racing again, the same rhythm from the diner. My fingers go numb. The room feels closer, like the walls stepped forward. I know she is waiting for details. I also know I am nowhere near ready to lay them out. "Take your time." Her voice stays calm. "You're safe here." That word safe again. It hits a raw spot. I want to believe her, my body does not. My shoulders stay hunched, ready for impact from nowhere. I realize I am holding my breath and force myself to exhale. "I don't want to get into it." The words scrape out of me. "I just need coping skills or whatever, something to stop the panic." It sounds weak even as I say it, like I am asking for a bandage over a bullet wound. Shame churns in my stomach, hot and familiar. She studies me for a moment. We can absolutely work on coping, she says, but if the source of the panic involves abuse or ongoing contact with someone unsafe, we should probably talk about that at some point. The word abuse lands with a dull thud in my chest. She said it, not me. Hearing it from another mouth makes it feel more real than I am ready for. I nod without lifting my eyes. Maybe next time. I have no intention of coming back next time, and a part of me knows that as the words leave my mouth, it feels like lying to a teacher about homework, except the assignment is my entire life. Session ends with her handing me a sheet about breathing exercises. I fold it into a neat rectangle and shove it into my pocket. Outside, the air feels too bright, too open. I sit in my friend's old car for 20 minutes before I even start the engine, just staring through the windshield while my pulse gradually slows. I do not schedule another appointment. I ignore the reminder email when it pings my inbox a week later. The college counselor leaves a voicemail that starts with "just checking in," and I delete it halfway through. Avoidance is a terrible strategy, I get that, but right then it is the only one that does not make me feel like I am about to split in half. One night at the diner, a woman in a booth calls her kid baby in a sing-song voice. My whole body locks up before I can stop it. The tray in my hand tilts and a glass slides, catches the edge and shatters. Conversation around us dips, then rises again like a wave rippling out. My manager strides over, jaw tight. "You okay, man?" He glances from the broken glass to my pale face. "Because I can't keep covering this if it keeps happening." His tone is not cruel, just practical, which somehow stings more. He is not angry about my trauma, he is annoyed about the mess. I'm good. I kneel to pick up the larger pieces, careful not to slice my palms. "Won't happen again." Another lie. That sentence might as well be tattooed on my tongue at this point. I hear myself repeating it to different people in different rooms, and it never gets truer. After the shift, I sit in the locker area and scroll to her name on my contact list. I should block it. Everyone on the internet says that is what you do with toxic people. Go no contact. Clean break, simple. I stare at the option for a full minute, thumb hovering over the screen. Instead of hitting block, I open our old message thread. It is mostly her texts and my one-word responses, stretching back further than I want to admit. "You up? Call me. Need you. Answer your mother." Those lines stare back at me like ghosts I invited. I close the thread without deleting it. I hate myself a little for that. Part of me still wants to monitor her from a distance, like keeping an eye on a storm. I tell myself it is about safety, not attachment. If I know where the damage is, maybe I can stay ahead of it. That sounds smart in my head. It is really just fear dressed up. Around 3 in the morning, I jerk awake on the couch, heart racing. For a second, I swear I hear pounding on the apartment door. Heavy, angry hits. I hold my breath and count. 1, 2, 3, nothing follows. The hallway stays silent. The sound was only in my dream, but my body did not get that memo. I grab my phone with sweaty fingers and open the recent calls list. No new numbers, no late-night surprises. Still, my hands shake as I type out a text to my manager asking if my job is secure. I erase it before sending, then rewrite a shorter version. This time I hit send, then immediately regret it. He answers the next afternoon. "Stop texting me in the middle of the night." That is the whole message. No smiley face, no joke, just that line. I wince reading it because he is right. I am dragging my fear into places that never asked for it. I spend that evening on the couch with the TV on low, sound more like a murmur than actual dialogue. I pretend to follow the show, but my attention keeps sliding back to the phone lying face up near my knee. I wait for it to light up with our name, even though I know I should hope for the opposite. It stays dark. You would think that would relax me. Instead, it feels like the quiet before something breaks. My thumb hovers again over block this caller, the same way it did the week before. I sit there for a long time, breathing shallow, knowing that every second I hesitate is another crack she could push through later. And still, I cannot make myself press it. Not yet. My boss snaps his fingers in front of my face, and I nearly flinch. "Front door, someone asking for you." He jerks his head toward the windows. "Handle it outside, we've got customers." He moves away before I can answer. My grip tightens around the order pad so hard it bends. A part of me already knows who is waiting. I tell myself it could be anyone, a classmate, my roommate, a delivery mixed up. My feet still feel heavy as I cross the dining room. Every step closer makes my lungs work harder. When I reach the entrance, I stop behind the glass and look out. For a second, I actually hope I am wrong. I am not. She stands near the curb, shifting from foot to foot, scanning the door, thinner, twitchy, eyes dragged wider than I remember. Her gaze skims past me twice before locking on. When she spots me, her mouth stretches into something like a smile. My fingers go numb on the handle. I push the door open a few inches. "You can't be here." My voice comes out low and flat. It does not sound like when I talk to customers. It does not sound like how I talk to anyone. She steps forward fast and wedges her foot so the door cannot close again. "Look at you." Her eyes run over the uniform, the name tag, the tired posture. "You got yourself a real job." She laughs once, quick and humorless. "You going to pretend you don't know your own mother now?" Her hand lifts like she might touch my face, then pauses when I lean back. I slip outside and let the door shut behind me. If she starts yelling inside, I am done. "You need to leave," I say. "You can't cause trouble here." I try to angle my body so I block her view in, just in case she gets loud. My heartbeat hammers against my ribs so hard I feel it in my teeth. She waves that off like noise. "Relax, I just want to talk." Her pupils look wrong, but I am no expert. "You don't even call anymore. You think that's fair after what we went through?" The way she says "we" makes my stomach roll. I stare at a crack in the pavement instead of her face. "I'm working." I cross my arms so she cannot grab them. "What do you want?" It comes out harsher than I planned, and a flicker of guilt flashes through me because that old training never fully died. You do not snap at her, you keep her calm. That was the rule. Her shoulders sag in a show of hurt. "I messed up, all right." She glances around, voice dropping. "I got in with some people I shouldn't have. They expect their money. I figured you of all people would understand pressure." The last word hangs loaded. I stare at her for a long second. "How did you find this place?" I have never said where I work out loud on the phone. I made sure of that. Her eyes flick sideways just for a beat, then back. I know that microshift too well. It means she is about to dodge. "Please," she says, "don't start interrogating me. I am out here begging instead of calling the police. That should tell you something." Her fingers tug at the edge of her sleeve, restless. "I just need enough to disappear for a while." Disappear, as if that has ever actually happened. My chest tightens when she says police. It is a cheap trick, but it still lands. "I don't have much," I answer, which is true and also not the point. "You can't come here again, they'll fire me." My voice shakes on that last part. Losing this job would blow up what little stability I have. She steps closer until I catch the faded smell of sweat and something chemical. "You wouldn't let your own mother get hurt because you're scared of getting fired." Her eyes search my face like she is hunting for the softest spot. "You know what they'll do if I don't pay." Her tone makes it sound like this is happening to both of us. I look back through the window. My boss pretends not to stare, but I can see him tracking us. A table raises their hands for refills. I have about a minute before he walks over and asks what the hell is going on. I dig into my pocket and pull out my tips from that shift. I count out a stack of crumpled bills and press them into her hand. It is more than I can spare. Rent, bus pass, food, all of that flashes through my mind, and still I do it. Old patterns run deep. "This is all I have on me," I mutter. "After this, I can't do anything else." Even as I say it, I hear the lie. She glances at the money, then at me, expression twisting. "After this." She repeats it slow, testing the words. "You know this doesn't even scratch it." She tucks the cash into her pocket with quick movements. "But it shows you remember where you came from." The compliment feels like a threat disguised as praise. I step back toward the door. "You need to go now." My hand finds the handle. "If you show up here again, I'm done." It is the strongest line I manage. My voice does not fully match the content though. She hears that thinness and smirks. "I always knew you were dramatic," she says, acting like I'm some stranger off the street. Her eyes darken. "We have history, don't forget that." She leans in just enough that only I hear the last part. "You remember what you liked, you came to me, you needed me." My legs almost give out. The air in my lungs turns heavy like I swallowed cement. I know the words are twisted, dragged inside out, yet a part of my brain still flares with shame, like maybe she is right. That is the worst part of all this, how fast I start doubting myself. I grip the handle so hard my fingers ache. "If you talk about that again, I swear I'll tell someone." The sentence comes out on one breath. It feels impossible and weak at the same time. Tell who? About what? I have no idea. I just know I need to push back somewhere. She tilts her head and studies me, amused. You won't, she murmurs. You never do. You think anyone is going to see you as a victim. They'll look at you and think you were in on it. Her lips curl. They'll wonder why you stayed so long. A passing car horn jolts me enough to move. I yank the door open and step halfway inside. I'm serious, I say. Don't come here again. This time I do not wait for her answer. I let the door swing shut between us. The latch clicks louder than usual. Back on the floor, I grab the pitcher and force myself into motion. My boss intercepts me near the soda fountain. Everything handled. He arches one eyebrow. We don't need drama on the sidewalk, makes people nervous. He is not asking who she was, he does not want that information. Won't be a problem, I answer, my throat feels raw. She just needed bus fare. That is the story I give him because it is the easiest to swallow. He nods once and walks away. I catch my reflection in the shiny surface and barely recognize my own expression. The rest of the shift blurs. I mess up orders, I bump into a chair and mumble an apology. My coworkers trade looks when they think I am not watching. One of them pulls me aside near closing. You need to sort your home stuff, he says. Whatever that was, it shook you. His eyes are not unkind, just blunt. That night back on the couch, I dump my pockets out and count what is left. A few coins, some lint, nothing that helps. The number in my banking app makes my stomach clench. One surprise expense away from sinking, and I just handed a chunk of it to the person who wrecked my childhood and still has power over my nerves. My phone buzzes on the cushion. Unknown number. I freeze, then swipe to answer before I can overthink it. A deep voice comes through, rough and impatient. You know where she is? No greeting, no name, just that direct hit. My heart slams so hard I grip the phone with both hands. Who is this? My voice comes out thin. The room feels smaller. I stand up without meaning to and start pacing between the couch and the door. Sweat prickles at the back of my neck. The caller exhales sharply. She owes people, he says. She says her boy can vouch for her, says you'll help. I shut my eyes. Of course she dragged me into it by name. Of course she did. He waits, breathing steady. You gonna make her a liar. I swallow. I don't know where she is. That part is true for once, and I'm not involved in her business. I force the words out in a rush. I already gave her everything I could. I have nothing else. My head spins as the reality of that sentence settles in. There is a pause on the line. I hear muffled talking in the background, then the man returns. If she fed us a story, that's on her, he says, but if she contacts you again, you let her know we're not playing. He hangs up without a goodbye. The deadline hums in my ear. I drop onto the couch like my legs gave out. My roommate cracks his door open, sleepy and annoyed. You arguing with someone? He peers at me, then checks the time on his phone. It's late, man. He looks more tired than angry. That somehow makes me feel worse. Wrong number, I say quickly. I slip the phone into my pocket before he can read the screen. My voice comes out too casual, too fast. He studies me for another second, then sighs and disappears back into his room. The door closes with a soft click that feels like a small mercy. The next morning at work, I catch myself scanning the street every time the door chimes. No sign of her. Every unfamiliar car near the curb makes my muscles tense. A group of teenagers crowding around the entrance makes my pulse jump for no reason. I start to understand that even when she is not there, she is still there. During lull time, my boss corners me near the break room. That woman from yesterday, he says, you need to let whoever that is know they can't hara. SS you hear? He leans against the frame, arms folded. This place can't be ground zero for your personal stuff, you understand. I nod once. I get it. My voice sounds steadier than I feel. I'm sorting it out. Another empty promise, that's my specialty. He gives me a long look, then claps my shoulder and walks off, already calling out to someone else. On my next break, I step outside with my phone and finally open the settings. My thumb hovers over the option to block numbers. My hand trembles so much I almost drop the device. If I block her, she might send people instead. If I do nothing, she might still send people. That loop spins in my head until I feel dizzy. In the end, I block the unknown caller first. It is a small, shaky move, but it is something. His number vanishes from my recent list. Her contact stays where it has always been, sitting like a loaded trap under my thumb. I back out of the screen without touching it. As my break ends, I glance toward the street again. No sign of her, just regular strangers going about their day. For everyone else, this is just another afternoon. For me, it is the moment I realize that leaving the house on my 18th birthday did not end anything. It just changed the way the danger reached me. I answer the unknown call because the voicemail icon will not stop blinking. Is this Alex? The voice is older, shaky, rushed. It's Linda, your aunt from your mom's side. I picture a face from a funeral years ago and it clicks. Before I can respond, she barrels on. She overdosed, they brought her back. The hospital keeps asking for family, they need someone to sign things. My fingers clamp tighter around the phone until they hurt. I'm not her guardian, my words come out automatic. I don't live with her, I do. I trail off because none of that matters to a nurse with a clipboard. Linda exhales right into the receiver. You're the only kid, they said she keeps saying your name, I can't drive at night, please. There is that word again, please, it hooks right under my ribs. An hour later I am in the hospital parking lot chewing the inside of my cheek. The place glows against the dark and for a moment every window looks like an eye. I sit behind the steering wheel and tell myself I could still turn around. Nobody forced me to walk in. Nobody sane would blame me. My hand still reaches for the door handle like it belongs to someone else. Inside, a nurse at the desk flips through a chart. You're here for her. Not a question, she pushes a plastic badge across the counter. She's awake now, we're transferring her to detox soon, doctor will need your signature for a few things. My stomach knots, I didn't come to sign up for anything long term, I just came to check if she was alive. We reach the curtained area and the nurse calls her name. A weak groan answers. When I step closer, she squints like the lights hurt, then she spots me and her expression softens too fast. I knew you'd show. Her voice is raspy but the smug edge is still there under the rasp. You always come when it counts. I stay near the foot of the bed. They called me, I say, that's all. It sounds defensive even to my own ears. She looks thinner than the last time outside the diner, bones sharper, skin dull. I take that in quickly and push it aside before guilt wraps around it. She licks her lips, eyes shining with a strange mix of pride and self-pity. They thought I didn't have anyone, she murmurs. I told them my boy would come through, I told them we're close. The way she says close makes my jaw clench. There is too much history stuffed into that single syllable. A doctor appears at my elbow with forms. She qualifies for inpatient treatment, he explains. We recommend starting tonight, short stay here, then transfer to a rehab facility for a longer program. It helps if family encourages the process. The word encourages feels like code for funds, rides, emotional labor, all of the above. He walks me through the paperwork line by line, medical stuff, consent for treatment, contact person. He uses clinical phrases which help me stay on my feet. I initial where he points. When he mentions family sessions at the rehab, my pulse jumps. The idea of sitting in a circle talking about feelings with her in the room makes my skin crawl. After he leaves, she picks at the thin blanket with twitchy fingers. You heard him, she says. They need support, I need you there, you can drive me to meetings, keep me on track. She almost sounds excited like she is planning a trip. I'm not bringing you into my place, I answer. I have a roommate, a tiny spot, that's it. My voice shakes but I push through it. If you do this program they have housing, you can use that. Her face shifts from hopeful to offended in a second. So that's it, she gives a harsh laugh. I almost die and you can't even give me a couch. She turns her head away, dramatic. After everything we've been through, you toss me to SDR. Angers, there it is again, like we were partners in some twisted project. A counselor stops by later, clipboard in hand, chirpy tone. We're glad she has someone, she says. Patients with engaged family do better long term. She smiles like this is a brochure photo. Our rehab center runs weekly family nights. We encourage attending at least some. I just nod because my brain is stuck on the word trapped, not better. Fast forward 2 weeks and I am back in a different parking lot, fingers tight around a styrofoam cup I do not remember buying. The rehab building looms in front of me. Cars line up in neat rows, families walking inside with nervous faces. I sit in mine too long, engine off, trying to decide if I can bail. I almost text the counselor that I am sick. I type the message, stare at the words, then delete them. Part of me wants to see with my own eyes what she looks like sober. Another part wants to make sure she is contained somewhere behind staff and protocols. That second part is what finally gets me out of the car. Inside, a staff member checks my name off a list and points me toward a room. Folding chairs in a loose circle, coffee on a side table. Parents, partners, kids my age, everyone glancing at each other like we are all waiting for someone to declare us good or bad. She walks in with the group of residents. Her hair is cleaner, eyes not as wild. She spots me and lights up in a way that makes the counselor near her smile. "There he is," she announces. "My reason for getting better." She gestures wide, including the whole circle in our messed up history without saying a single detail. I shift in my chair. A few faces turn my way with soft looks. I know what they see. Loyal kid, stands by mom through addiction. Good story for them. None of them have the slightest clue what vile things means in my life. If I said it out loud here, the entire room would crack open. The counselor opens with the usual questions. What brings your loved one here? What are your hopes for this process? People share about broken trust, relapses, apologies. When it is her turn, she clutches a tissue like a prop. "I hurt my son," she whispers. "I made choices that put us both at risk. I want to be the mother he deserves now." Tears slide down, perfectly timed. Everyone murmurs supportive noises. I stare at the floor because if I look up I might scream. There is so much missing from that confession that it might as well be fiction. She glances at me like she is checking that I am playing my role. I keep my face blank because I do not know what else to do. When the circle moves on, the counselor splits us into smaller pairs. We end up in a quiet office with a different staff member who calls herself a family therapist. She smiles at both of us in turn. "This is a chance to talk about what you each need," she says. "Going forward." She stresses that last phrase like it is hopeful instead of heavy. My mother jumps in first. "When I get out, I'll stay with him." She points at me like I am furniture she already owns. "We'll rebuild together. He can keep an eye on me, make sure I stay on track." She beams, proud of the plan she just invented in front of a witness. I swallow hard. "That's not happening," I say. "I don't have space or money or the stability to be your supervisor." The counselor's eyebrows tick up slightly. She did not expect pushback that blunt. My mother's mouth tightens in a thin line. "You expect me to go where then?" Her voice climbs. "Some halfway hell with strangers who don't care if I live or die." She leans toward the counselor. "You hear this? My own son tossing me aside when I'm trying." She dabs at her eyes again, but the anger leaks through. The counselor lifts a hand, calm. "Lots of clients choose sober living arrangements," she says. "Structure can actually help. Family support doesn't always mean sharing a home. It can be emotional or practical or financial." She looks at me. "What feels realistic for you?" Realistic, that's a nice word for what can you tolerate without falling apart. I take a breath. "If she finishes the program, I can help with the first month at a sober house," I say slowly. "After that she needs to manage her own stuff. I can't be the backup plan." Saying it out loud feels like stepping onto a cracked beam. My mother laughs, short and bitter. "He loves saying caw," she mutters. "Can't talk, can't visit, can't help, but when he wanted things, when he came to me at night, he never said can't then." She shoots me a sideways look loaded with ugly implication. The counselor glances between us, confused. "What do you mean by that?" she asks gently. "Came to you in what way?" My chest explodes with heat. This is the moment she could tell the truth or twist it in the worst possible way. I feel glued to the chair, limbs buzzing. My mother shifts gears so fast it gives me whiplash. "Emotional stuff," she replies, suddenly wounded. "He leaned on me, I messed up, but we're close, now he acts like I'm a monster." She shakes her head, eyes glossy. "He forgets who covered for him with the neighbors, with others." I force my jaw to relax before I crack a tooth. "We were not close," I say, voice low. "You used me, you crossed lines. I am not going to argue details in this office, but I am also not going to live with you. That's final." My hands tremble in my lap. I curl them into fists so the counselor doesn't see. The therapist studies my face carefully. "It sounds like there's a lot of pain here," she says, understatement of the decade. "For today, maybe we focus on one concrete boundary." She turns slightly toward me. "You're saying you're willing to contribute to sober housing as long as she doesn't move in with you, is that accurate?" "Yes," my answer comes faster this time. "I'll help with housing if she agrees to leave me out of her daily life. No surprise visits, no showing up at work, no random calls at all hours, emergencies only." I hear myself and realize I am drawing a line I should have drawn years back. My mother snorts. "So I get clean and end up alone," she snaps. "Great deal. Why should I even try if my own kid wants nothing to do with me?" She leans back, arms folded like she is ready to quit right there just to prove a point. Because this isn't about me, I snap back before I can stop myself. It's about you not dying. The room goes quiet. My voice echoes for a second in my own ears. You want help staying alive, I'm offering a form of help I can actually sustain. I won't give you more than that. I won't pretend everything can go back to how it was, ever. Her eyes narrow. You threatened me with telling people earlier, she says slowly. You really think anyone will take your side if I start talking? I can tell them things too, make them wonder who really wanted what. Her words slide across the table like poison. I lean forward a little closer than I mean to. If you come near me again after this, I say, I will tell everything I remember to whoever needs to hear it. I don't care if they believe all of it. I care that you know I'm done playing along. My throat burns, but my voice stays steady. For a second, something ugly flashes through her gaze, then fades. She looks away first. That small detail sticks with me even now. The counselor clears her throat. Okay, she says softly, so we have a possible plan: sober living with some financial support, limited contact while she focuses on recovery. We can write that down as an agreement. We go through logistics, names of houses, rough costs, dates. I answer questions, sign one more paper. The whole time I feel like I am balancing on a thin rail high above the ground. One wrong word and I topple back into her world for good. Session ends with a polite handshake from the therapist and vague follow-up instructions. My mother stands near the door watching me. You'll really help with that place, she asks quietly once we are out of earshot. You won't ghost me as soon as they drop me there. Her tone is softer, almost human. That throws me more than the threats. I'll pay the first month, I reply. After that, it's on you, and once you're settled, I don't want you contacting me unless you're talking to a doctor and they need information. I mean that. The words feel like they are carving something permanent in the air between us. She nods slowly, lips pressed together. I didn't raise you to be this cold, she murmurs, then she smirks a little. But maybe you learned from the best. She turns away before I can respond. Staff calls her group to line up for medication, and just like that I am no longer the center of her attention. Out in the parking lot, I lean against my car and gulp air. My hands shake so badly I drop the keys once. The asphalt under my feet feels weirdly unsteady, like it might open up. I know I just set the hardest boundary of my life, and I know she heard it even if she pretended not to. What I did not understand yet, standing by that car with my heart racing, was that cutting her out on paper is the easy part. The real battle would start later, alone with my phone, when her messages began piling up again and I had to decide if I meant what I said in that office. I stare at my phone, thumb frozen over the block option. Her name fills the top of the screen again and again. 20 unread messages stack under it like a dare. The last one reads, "They're kicking me out. If you don't help, you'll regret this." My chest tightens, but not the way it used to. This time the fear sits next to anger, not on top of it. Another notification pops up before I can breathe. New voicemail, same number, same routine. I watch the icon pulse for a second, then slide it away without listening. I already know the pattern: first guilt, then rage, then promises. It is always the same script with different words. My roommate leans on the doorframe, chewing a granola bar. That her again, he nods at the fuck. Knee on my knee, you gonna change your number or just keep playing whack-a-mole? His tone is light, but his eyes look tired. He has heard too many of these late vibrations. I've got it, I answer. I flip the screen down like that makes it weaker. She's at a program, they just like using me as motivation. The explanation sounds fake even to me. He watches my face a couple seconds longer, then shrugs and disappears toward the kitchen. When he is gone, I unlock the screen and open a draft I have rewritten 10 times. You turned me into your shield and called it love, it starts. I scroll down through the rest of it, jaw tight. You will never be near my life again. I read that line twice. My hand shakes just enough to blur the letters. I imagine her expression if she ever saw it. Shock for a second. Then denial, then that cold little smile when she realizes I finally named what she did. The thought makes my stomach twist and my back straighten at the same time, power and nausea in one confused hit. I hold the phone up, thumb hovering over send. 10 seconds, 15, my breathing goes shallow. I picture her using every sentence against me in some future argument. Look how dramatic you are, you always wanted this. I can already hear the comebacks. That is what finally pushes me to move. I highlight the entire draft and erase it. The screen clears with one tap. My heart still pounds like I just did something huge. In a way, I did. I chose not to give her new material to twist. I chose silence over one more round of that endless back and forth. A week later, I sit on a plastic chair in a clinic again. Different counselor this time. Younger, sharper, the type who calls out avoidance as soon as she sees it. She skims my intake form, then looks up. "You wrote that you cut contact at 18, she says, "but your phone keeps lighting up. Help me understand that." I breathe out through my nose, slow. "I left her house," I say. "I never fully left the conversation." That is the closest I can get to the truth in one sentence. I keep the line open so I know what kind of chaos is coming. Saying it out loud sounds less smart than it felt in my head. She taps her pen against her notebook, thinking, "So you're monitoring the threat," she says, "like a weather app for storms." I huff a small laugh even though this is not funny. "The problem is you still stand outside in the thunder every time it pings you." That lands harder than I want to admit. My phone buzzes on the armrest between us. We both glance at it. Her eyes move back to me. "If that's her, what happens if you don't look?" she asks. Not a trick question, just direct. My throat tightens anyway. The sound keeps vibrating through the plastic. "I'll feel like I'm waiting for a punch I can't see," I answer. That is honest at least. "Like something S building behind my back." My leg bounces faster until I pin it down with my hand. I know how messed up that sounds. Live updates from the person who hurt you most. Subscription service straight from hell. She nods slowly. "You already know she's not safe," she says. "Information about her looks like control, but it keeps you in the same game. What would it mean to step off the field?" I hate that metaphor and also cannot argue with it. I reach for the phone and flip it face up. New text. I do not open it. My thumb moves to the three dots in the corner. "Block number," the screen offers. My pulse spikes. I could still back out. I could claim I am not ready. I have used that excuse for years. Even I am getting tired of hearing it. I press the button. The confirmation pops up. "You will no longer receive calls or messages." My tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth. I hit confirm before I can talk myself out of it. Just like that, the thread disappears from my main screen. My body reacts like we just jumped off a cliff. For a second, I actually reach to undo it. Reflex. The counselor clocks the movement and shakes her head once. "You can unblock later if you choose," she says, "but sit with what you just did for at least a week, see what comes up." It feels like she just handed me a mental homework assignment with no answer key. That night I sleep in short bursts. Every time I half-wake, I reach for my phone. My fingers swipe before my brain fully joins. No alerts, no flashing name. The silence feels heavy and unfamiliar. Not peaceful exactly, more like a ringing in my ears after leaving a loud room. 2 days into the block, a new number calls while I am at work. I almost let it ring out, then think about deliveries or the college office. "Hello," my voice sounds wary. A familiar shaky tone answers. "It's your aunt again," she says. "She's back at the hospital. They think this time is worse." My hand tightens around the receiver. "Why are they calling you and not me?" I ask. I already know. My number bounced the attempt and someone grabbed the next contact on the list. "They tried you first," she answers. It goes dry. "GHT to nowhere, you need to come, she keeps asking for you." I sink onto a crate in the supply room. My chest burns. "I can't do that," I say quietly. "We already went over this at rehab. I paid for a place, I set rules, I made it clear I'm not involved anymore." My voice shakes, but the words feel solid. Linda sniffles into the phone. "She might not make it," she whispers. "You want that on your conscience, her last words asking for you and you not there." That sentence lands like sandpaper against my nerves. Old guilt stands up fast, ready to work overtime. I press my free hand hard against my thigh until it hurts. Pain keeps me in the present. "I didn't put her there," I answer. "She did that to herself long before today. I'm not the solution anymore." Saying that without crumbling takes everything I have. There is a long pause. "You're really not coming," she says finally, disbelief and judgment tangled together. "I'll tell them you refused." My throat closes for a second. I swallow past it. "You can tell them I'm not a contact," I reply. "Tell them to treat her like any other patient." My voice sounds flat even to me. After we hang up, my hands will not stop trembling. I stand in the tiny room staring at a stack of cups, trying not to puke. This is the moment people in movies change their minds. Run to the car, rush to the hospital, hold a hand and forgive years of damage in one dramatic scene. Real life does not work like that, at least mine doesn't. I go back to my station and finish the shift. People order meals and complain about wait times. Nothing on their faces shows that someone out there might be dying while her kid pours drinks. Inside my skull, though, it is just one long siren. That night, I sit on the couch with the TV muted and stare at my silent phone. No more calls from her. No direct lines from the hospital. Just one fresh voicemail from my aunt I have not played yet. The little icon flashes like a heartbeat. My thumb hovers over it for a long time. When I finally press play, all I hear is her voice, thin and strained. They moved her to intensive care, she says. They don't know which way it'll go. If you change your mind, call me. She rattles off a room number and hangs up. No pressure this time, just facts. Somehow that hurts more. I pause the message halfway through and delete it. Not because I do not care, because I care too much and caring always pulled me straight back into the fire. I set the phone down face up and force myself not to grab it again. My hands curl into fists against my knees. Days pass, no news, no funeral notice, no new calls. Maybe she pulled through, maybe she didn't, maybe she landed in another facility with another group of people sitting in a circle listening to half-truths about a devoted son who won't give up on her. I will probably never know. That uncertainty used to terrify me. Now it just sits in the corner of my life like a piece of heavy furniture I learned to walk around. I still write texts sometimes, not to send, just to get the poison out of my system. You knew I was a kid and you did it anyway. You built your survival on my silence. I'm not your shield anymore. I type them late at night, stare at the sentences until my eyes burn, then wipe them all at once. One evening, when the words feel too crowded for my phone, I open my laptop instead. Cursor blinking on a blank page. Without thinking too hard, I start typing what you are reading now. The door, the threats, the rehab deal, the calls I did not return. I pour it out chapter by chapter like I am finally making my own record, not living inside hers. As I write, I keep catching myself trying to make her simpler. Pure villain, no nuance. It would be easier to tell it that way. The truth is she was sick and cruel and needy and charming and broken all at once. The worst damage came from how she mixed love with things that were not love at all. That is the part I am still unlearning. I do not know if she is alive while I type this. I use past tense because that is how she exists in my head now. A finished section of my life, even if her body is technically still moving somewhere. There is grief in that and relief tangled together. I am still figuring out which feeling is louder on any given day. What I know is this: I pushed the key under that door when I was 18. It took years to do the same thing with my phone and my mind. Leaving wasn't a single dramatic exit. It was 1,000 small choices I had to make while shaking. Today, blocking her calls and refusing that last summons was part of that same chain. This story is the message I never sent, the goodbye she will never get from me directly. She taught me to keep secrets that nearly killed me. Telling this now to strangers is how I break that last rule. And for the first time, the silence after I hit post feels like mine.